Shabbat Shalom, and welcome back here to the Light to the Nations channel. To this a continuation, the new portion of the book of First Kings. That we really hope this has been a blessing to you in the same way that it has been blessing us to go through this book. Today we are going to study the chapter 9 and 10, and we have titled this portion Vayera YaHuWaH, and it means you know.
No, I have it written, but I forgot. YaHuWaH appeared. Yeah,
YaHuWaH appeared.
Yeah.
Vayera YaHuWaH appeared. Because, you know, what we did, and I don't know if I already explained this, but we were taking a look in reading the entire book of Kings in order to put together these portions. And as soon as we decided how to portion it, because of, I don't know,
The
the
stories,
stories were somehow connected. We were looking for some special wording throughout the writings that somehow were connected to the whole story.
Yeah, or it has an important meaning.
An important meaning, and I think is the main meaning of the story of the portion. And we will go through this one, and I think it will make sense what I'm saying now. That actually in this portion, YaHuWaH appeared the second time. I think, for a person. So we are going to study this only 2 chapters, and we really hope that this is going to be a blessing once again to all of us, asking out to guide us in this study today. It's a bit of a very
It's cloudy. Yeah.
Cloudy Shabbat for us, you know. Weather has been a bit crazy nowadays, and I think it is happening in many places in the world, that we're supposed to be with high temperatures somehow at this season of the year, but
it looks like winter.
Yeah, we are facing sometimes the 4 seasons of the year in just a few days, or sometimes in the same day. So you know, those are wow! I just saw your comment, Regina. -4 degrees this morning. Yeah. So for me, those are evidences of the times that we are living. So I think it should not be a surprise for any of us. So we really hope that you have been enjoying your Shabbat. Some of you are very late in the Shabbat, like Arthur and Cornelia, that I saw you in the chat. For the other of you, you are just starting Shabbat. So really hope that this is going to be a blessing, and thank you for being with us here, just to invite us somehow to be part of your Shabbat, and thank you for blessing us to be part of our Shabbat too.
Yeah, because it's like a family gathering together, and we are here gathering under the instruction and under this how can I say, like in the middle and under the tent of our Father, our Abba, because he is the one who established this day, who set it apart so we can rest with him, we can recover from anything. like me and maybe some other too, that we have been passing through trials and sickness and things like that, but he's so faithful that he is with us, and in days like this he's telling us, I'm with you, I'm there. And we're going to realize about that also in the portion today. So
absolutely. Though you still sounds like under the water.
Yeah.
And she was very sick actually this week, and you started to get recovered 2 days ago.
No, it was, I think that the worst day it was Monday and Tuesday, and then it was like little by little,
day by day. Yeah. But you still sound like
I have a different voice.
It's not the sound today.
It's my voice.
Sounding like that. Sometimes I'm very terrified because it sounds very scary. But that today just sounds good.
Yeah.
So you know, last week we had some issues with the sound, I think. So let us know if you can, if the volume is good enough today. Just put the comment in the chat just to make sure that we are all set. So I don't know what happened with the mixer here, but please let us know if the volume and if you can hear our voices better today than last week if the volume is good enough.
Yeah.
Okay, sounds great. Perfect. It is
Okay, it's
okay.
okay.
Very
Yeah.
good. Volume
Okay.
sounds great to me. I can put it even higher, so you will hit us even more.
No, but I
Yours,
think
I'm
that
just
is better
kidding.
for them to
Yeah, I'm just kidding.
adjust. Yeah.
Good. So let's take a look quickly on the chat. Let's see who is with us here. Suomi Tura International from Finland. Thank you so much for joining us. Regina, Wilben Tarkur, Camila, Deborah Willard. I think it's the same. It's the first time that I see you here, at least myself. So welcome.
Yeah.
DDK.
Yeah.
We really hope and we have been praying for you that you are feeling much better, dear sister. Who else we have here? Arthur and Cornelia.
James
James,
Coletti,
Maria Isabel, James Henry, Wendy,
Wendy, yeah,
Wadai,
Wadai.
Steve, who else? Michael, Wendy Russell, our brother emissary of Elohim.
Yeah.
Good. Who else? Corina. Welcome, Corina.
Well, that's too fast for me.
And let's see, Beetlejuice. This is Christina. And who else?
That's his.
Wow. It's welcome, Nina, from Sweden.
Yeah.
Yeah, nice to have you here. It's a blessing.
Yeah.
Yarash, welcome, Yarash. Yarash always come late. Don't worry, Yarash.
And it's some letters. I don't know how to pronounce the.
Yeah, WLDNDN22.
22. Yeah.
Yes.
And
Nunja Business from Houston, Texas.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
So I think we're ready to go. Let's move on. It's not gonna be a long portion because I think these two chapters are smaller than the previous ones. But let's see. We have been studying this, reading this morning. Just for you to know, for us it's almost 3 o'clock here. Okay, so we take advantage of the morning now just to take a look on the portion. And we found some interesting things that we are going to share with you today. And the rest for sure, asking Ava to guide us through the Ruach to see what else is coming in this study. And as we always do, we will invite you once again. We are all of us, we are growing together in the truth of the word of YaHuWaH. So if you have something to share, go ahead, put it in the chat. I think it's important that we exchange what the Ruach is teaching us. It's the only way that we are going to be able to grow together.
Yeah.
Okay, so go ahead, put your comments as you always do, please. And I don't have to say this, but I think it's important to have the reminder. Every time that we put a comment, we need to be so respectful because we are none of us is the owner of the truth. We are all students, so that's why we need to go ahead, share what we have been studying, what we have been understanding, and always with an open heart and an open eyes, open ears, just to meditate in new understanding. You know, sometimes we get to the knowledge of something depending on how prepared we are at a certain point of time.
That's true.
That doesn't mean that's going to be the full understanding.
Yeah, maybe it's going to be only temporary because we're approaching in some direction.
And then it's going to be expanded even more. It's like, you know, it is written in the book of Proverbs, in the book of Mishle. It's like the light of the day that is increasing in the morning, little by little, until we have the full sky and the whole world fully lighted. Yeah. So it's exactly it's the path of YaHuWaH. Is that we are learning little by little, and for sure that time when we will receive full light and we will be able to see everything is the time that the light of the world will be here physically once again with us, and that's Yahushua HaMashiach. And I can tell you something, a secret. That time is coming very soon. So we need to be open and, you know, showing the love of YaHuWaH and the love of Yahushua here in our hearts, loving our brothers, and for sure loving means that we should not be tolerating everything. If we see a brother or a sister that is going astray, you know, we need to act in love, with compassion, just to try to help them to go back
And pray.
and pray for sure.
Yeah, because the one who is going to convict them is going to be the Father through his Ruach. So we have to pray for them.
Absolutely. So those are the rules of the chat.
Your mom.
Hello, mom. Those are the rules of the chat. Just to, and I know you do it, just to make sure that you are sharing in love, with openness of heart, just to let the Ruach guide us, all of us, including the two of us here. Okay?
Yeah.
So, as we always do, let me share this beautiful song with you. I like it so much, and I like to play it in my guitar. I have not played in my guitar for a while. This song. I was playing my guitar the other day.
Yeah.
Yes. But I think we need to play more. So let's listen to this song, and let's pray to YaHuWaH. Let's praise him, and let's put ourselves in the right attitude to study his word. That's the whole idea of sharing this music and this song of praises to him as part of this study. So let me put it. Here we go.
יברכך אדוני וישמרך, יאר אדוני פניו אליך ויחונך, יישא אדוני פניו אליך וישים לך שלום. יברכך אדוני וישמרך, יאר אדוני פניו אליך ויחונך, יישא אדוני פניו אליך וישים לך שלום. אלפי דורות, משפחתך וילדיך דורותיך אחריך, רוחו תלך לפניך לצידך אחריך, מסביבך בליבך, הוא איתך, הוא איתך בבוקר ובערב, בצאתך ובואך, בסבלותיך באושריך, הוא איתך, הוא איתך, הוא איתנו, עם כולנו, הוא איתך, הוא איתך.
So let's close our eyes and let's pray together. YaHuWaH Elohim Sabaoth, we want to give thanks to you in this moment for this new Shabbat, for the opportunity to you give us to have once again this gathering with your children. The only desire of our heart here in this gathering is to seek your face, to study your word, to know you better, to know and to learn how to serve you. And the desire of our heart is to cling to you, is to understand how to follow your path, follow the narrow path, your ways, that way that your son Yahushua HaMashiach came to restore, that way that he is leading us so we can reach to our destination, that is your kingdom. Todah, because in your compassion and your love, you have chosen us, and you have taken us out of darkness and has brought us to your light, to your son Yahushua, because he is the light of the world. Thank you, Abba, because throughout all these years you have been preparing us for such a time like this. Because throughout all these years you have sustaining us in order to endure, in order to learn more, in order to build our house in the rock, in order to be prepared for serving you in these times. We have so much to learn, but in your compassion you have shown us your way. And we want to tell you in this moment that the desire of our heart is to know more of you. The desire of our heart is to be guided by you and to be used in your hands like instruments, that you can produce your music, your songs through us, that you can deliver your message through us, so we can prepare the ground for the soon return of your son Yahushua HaMashiach. The earth, your entire creation needs you, including ourselves, because we are part of your creation. And altogether we cry out to you, asking, O YaHuWaH, that you can restore all things. And we know, as you were showing us in the past, as you were making us to understand, is that though we see darkness increasing, we know that you are also increasing your light. And we know that the darkness cannot overcome the light. And we are so grateful, O YaHuWaH, that in your compassion, you are making us walk in your light. And we ask you, with all our heart, that you can guide us and give us strength in order to continue walking straight, following the step of our Melech, our King Yahushua. That you can protect us in order not to go to the right or to the left, to go astray from your ways. Instead of that, to walk putting our eyes in our King and in our destination, that is your kingdom. Times of deception are upon us, upon the entire world. And as your son Yahushua said, that even the chosen one can be deceived. But we know that you are the faithful and your promises are forever. That if we build this temple upon your rock, it doesn't matter the winds, the storms, the rain, anything. We are going to be saved by you. That's why we pray that you can protect us and we can become worthy to stand before your Son in this time of troubles, darkness, confusion, deception. We want to be a lamp where your light shine around us so many can see and run to you, run to your promises, to your truth, to the safety place that can only be found in you. And we ask you that you can remind us day by day of this word, that only in you we find a safety place, that it only in you we have expectation of a better life. And it's only in you we have salvation. Salvation you have brought to the world by the offering of your Son Yahushua HaMashiach, our King, who rule over us because you have appointed him to be a king over your people, and not only over your people Israel, because he's the King of Kings and he's going to be ruling over the entire world. I pray for the restoration, for the healings. You know, every situation that your children are going through in these times, we recognize and we acknowledge that you know us better than we know ourselves. And in this moment, we just want to ask you, as a little child, that you can listen our voices, that you can answer the request of our hearts. And if we are in need of healing, that you can heal our bodies. And if we are in need of healing in our heart, of emotions, of past traumas, that you can listen and answer and give us restoration and joy. If we're going through tribulation or persecution, that you can give a way out and you can bring shalom. If we are going through any type of difficulty, that you can give a hand to your children and you can teach us what is your purpose behind all of that. And we know that the main purpose of tribulation is to strengthen our faith. And that's our main request to you, that you can give us strength. You can increase our emunah in these times, that you can send your Ruach HaKodesh so we can act with your mighty power to deliver the message of your kingdom and to be true witnesses of your light, of your word in these times. Thank you for being with us here, no matter the distance, because we can feel your presence among us. And we can feel that we are echad in you through the love of Yahushua HaMashiach. And then you are dwelling in this temple this temple of your Ruach HaKodesh. Guide us today, Abba, in this study. Show us everything you want to show us and teach us. And we want to give thanks to you for everything you do for us. Because every day you're showing us your love, your compassion, and your character, Abba, that is full of love and shalom. We pray to you, Abba, in this time with all our heart, and we worship you, and we acknowledge that you are the only true Elohim, and that we belong to you, Abba, and that we like to belong to you. We just want to put a smile in your face, O YaHuWaH, by serving you with all our hearts. Thank you, Abba, Todah. And we pray to you, and we raise our voices to you in prayers. And we do it in the mighty name of your Son, Yahushua HaMashiach. Amen.
Amen.
Okay. I could continue praying.
I know.
Let's go to the book of Kings. And let me change this thing here.
Kings, Malachim in Hebrew.
Melachim Aleph, this first King, chapter 9.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I'm going to be the first one reading. Yes?
You're thinking, yeah, right.
I'm right?
Yeah,
Okay.
you're right.
I'm right. I have my notes over here, so okay, let's move on. Ready? Let's do it. So it says, and it came to be, when Shlomo had finished building the house of YaHuWaH and the house of the sovereign, and all the desire of Shlomo which he was pleased to do, that YaHuWaH appeared to Shlomo the second time, as he had appeared to him at Gibeon. And YaHuWaH said to him, I have heard your prayer and your supplication that you have made before me. I have set this house apart which you have built to put my name there forever. And my eyes and my heart shall always be there. And you, if you walk before me as your father David walked, in integrity of heart and in uprightness, to do according to all that I have commanded you, if you guard my laws and my right rulings, then I shall establish the throne of your reign over Israel forever, as I promised David your father, saying, there is not to cease a man of yours on the throne of Israel. If you at all turn back, you or your sons, from following me, and do not guard my commands, my laws, which I have set before you, but shall go and serve other mighty ones, and bow yourselves to them, then I shall cut off Israel from the face of the soil, which I have given them, and send away from my presence this house, which I have set apart for my name. And Israel shall be a proverb and a mockery among all the peoples. And this house, which has been exalted, everyone who passes by, it shall be astonished, and hiss, and say, why has YaHuWaH done thus to this land and to this house? Then they shall say, because they have forsaken YaHuWaH their Elohim, who brought their fathers out of the land of Mizraim, and they took hold of other mighty ones, and bowed themselves to them, and served them. That is why YaHuWaH has brought all this evil on them. So let's give it until there, and I think we have a lot of things that we can share here. Okay? You want to start first?
Okay. Yeah, because I think that it's going to take like, I don't know, half an hour for you.
What? What are you talking about?
Yeah.
You're just taking a look at my notes, and you think I'm going to speak for an hour. Come on.
Yeah.
No, I think you need to speak first in case you want to cough.
Oh, okay. Okay.
If you start to cough, I'm going to start talking, okay?
Okay, that's good.
So let's do it. A lot of things here.
Yeah.
Okay? So
And from the beginning.
what are your thoughts?
When I was reading about this, and it says that YaHuWaH appeared to Shlomo the second time, as he had appeared to him at Gibeon. And he told him, I have heard your prayer, and I'm going to do what you have asked. He is saying. And then I was thinking, wow, what a blessing to have that opportunity of having that vision that he was there with him, that moment. And then I was thinking, it was like I was feeling like the Father was doing this to me, like he was
like I was doing to you this morning, right?
This morning,
Okay.
yeah. It was like, how can you think about that? And all the times that I have been with you, all the times that you have been praying to me, and I have answered your prayers, that you have asked for maybe little things, and I'm there. It's the same. And it was like, wow. I was comparing myself because I wanted like to have that kind of encounter, but I have had many encounters during my life with him in different ways. Maybe the first one that I had, it was like a very powerful one, because I remember that it was like receiving a hug from him, and it was something really amazing. But after that, every prayer, every need that I have had, and I know that for you is the same, that when you have asked him something, maybe knowledge, maybe some kind of support that you have need during the way, and you too, and all of us, maybe it's not at the same moment, but maybe it was during the day, maybe it was the next day, maybe it was in 1 week, maybe it was even a year later. I don't know, but he always have looked the way of let us know, you know what, I have heard your prayer, and you have been listened, and I'm going to do what you have requested me. But that is happening when the things that we are praying for are aligned to his ways, because sometimes maybe we are not going to hear anything, maybe we are not going to receive anything, and it's because it's a kind of silent, it's kind of, well, not this time. Maybe it's to wait, or maybe it's not the right request. I don't know. It's like a father.
But you know,
And
I think it is something. First of all, I fully agree with you in everything you said. Sometimes we don't agree in everything you said or I said, but in this time we agree completely. Okay. But this is something that it's been always in my heart, in that sometimes we don't recognize him.
And he's...
Because, you know, we take by granted some natural things. But we are not, and because of that, we are not able to recognize that he's behind everything. And most probably we are from the mindset that we are always waiting for a powerful manifestation, that the sky is going to be open, and we will see him sitting on the throne, and he's going to talk to us, and we are going to be filled so much with his presence that we are going to be unable to stand, and we are going to bow down because of this mighty power.
And maybe it was going to be like
maybe
that, yeah?
But maybe we have the
also...
mindset that we are always thinking and expecting this to happen, that type of experience. Or maybe it's not going to be like that. Maybe we're expecting, no, I'm going to hear his voice here in my ears, speaking to me and answering. Or we are waiting that the Ruach is going to speak to us in our hearts, and that's going to be the answer of the prayer. But sometimes it's not like that. It's exactly as you said. And always come to mind it's going to be part of the portions later, I think, in this book, is what happened to Eliyahu. You know, this big storm came, the big earthquake came when he was hiding in the cave, but YaHuWaH was not there. But then a very soft wind came, and it's in that moment when YaHuWaH was seeking for him and talking to him. So summary of what I'm trying to say is that we need to pray and actually I saw that in the passage, I think this morning, but I don't remember what it is that we need to pray that Abba can open our eyes and our ears so we are able to recognize him all the time in this big manifestation like in Mount Sinai, or in the smallest one when he's talking even through childs, through nature. So we're able to see him in our lives.
Yeah.
Sorry I interrupted you, but
No, it was perfect. It was that I wanted to say, because sometimes I don't know, through a new understanding, when he's opening our understanding to something that maybe we have struggled for a long time, and he said, well, this is the reason. And now you are understanding it, because that was the moment, and things like that. Wow, it's so beautiful to see him, that he took all this time to teach us maybe things that we were not ready before. Maybe it's all a complete process. It's a long process and he's doing that little by little. Why? Because it's like it was happening with Israel, that he said, I'm not going to take it for the shortest way, because maybe they're going to be afraid when they see the giants, the Philistines. So I'm going to take them from the other side, but and the other way that is very long, we are going to be tested, we are going to be taught, we are going to be in the need of leaving things behind and replacing maybe some old knowledge, and to embracing the knowledge that is coming from him and not from different other sources. So I think that every time that he's doing that, is like it's not going to be removed. And then we can continue. It's like baby steps. But it's really beautiful, the way that he's showing us everything, that he is with us, that he is answering our prayers. So
yeah, and actually somehow connected to what we're reading, this is exactly what's happening with the Shlomo. And that's why we put this portion, Vayera YaHuWaH, is what is written in the verse 2. YaHuWaH appeared to Shlomo. And you know what, when I was reading this, I remembered in my heart one of the parables of Yahushua. It's about the workers of the vineyard. And if you remember, in this parable, the master of the house came very early in the morning to hire some servants to go and send them to work in his vineyard. So he appeared to hire servants. And then he continued throughout the day finding lazy people, or idle people, not lazy, idle people, maybe lazy sometimes, that they didn't find any job. And he was making an agreement and send them to work to the vineyard. And he was doing it throughout the day. And at the end of the day, he appeared once again in order to pay the reward for the service. So when I saw this one with the Shlomo, that it is written here, appeared to Shlomo the second time. So compared to the parable, it's like, what was the reason that YaHuWaH appeared the first time to Shlomo compared to the parable? The first time,
him. It was like to hire him before we offering the position.
And why? Because Shlomo went seeking YaHuWaH in Gibeon. He was a young man. We were saying that it was around less than 20, less than 20 most probably. And he has these great people, big people to rule without having the knowledge and the tools. So he was seeking YaHuWaH for wisdom on how to rule, and let me paraphrase this, how to serve. And was hired by YaHuWaH, and he appeared to Shlomo to hire Shlomo and give him wisdom, give him the tools to serve him. Because at the end, and I think we will touch base on this thing later, a king is a servant. It's not a servant to the people. Somehow it is a servant to the people, true, but he's over the people. But it's a servant to YaHuWaH.
YaHuWaH.
So YaHuWaH was empowering somehow Shlomo with wisdom and with tools in order to rule the people. So, and it says that after he finished somehow his service by building the house, building everything, YaHuWaH appeared again, and compared to the parable is to give the payment, reward. And this for me was so beautiful because if we think in our case and in Yahushua appeared in this world around 2,000 years ago, and what he has been doing and what he did back then. We know he did a lot of things, but he began to hire servants for his kingdom. He began to hire servants for his kingdom and give and empowering them for service. How he began to empower them? By knowledge, by wisdom, by the Ruach HaKodesh that somehow is involved in all of that. And that means that he's going to appear the second time in the same way that the Shlomo, in order to give a reward. And what it's not that clear, the reward here on the Shlomo, but for me I think it's a beautiful connection, and let me point it out. It says that this is what YaHuWaH said to Shlomo, and let me paraphrase what I think is somehow the reward. YaHuWaH said to him, I have heard your prayer and supplication that you have made before me. I have set this house apart, which you have built to put my name there forever. And my eyes and my heart shall always be there. So because he served, because he was having the integrity of heart, YaHuWaH said, okay, I'm going to do what you have asked and have prayed about. This is one thing. And you, if you walk before me as your father David walked, in integrity of heart and in uprightness, to do according to all that I have commanded you, if you guard my laws and my right rulings, then I shall establish the throne of your reign over Israel forever. So he's giving him somehow the promise of a reward of something that is going to be eternal. What is coming by the hand of Yahushua at the end of the second time is the final reward. Is to be part of the kingdom, is part of the reward of eternal life. And we have some parallels to that. Let me go to the book of Revelation. And this is chapter 22, verse 12. It says, and see, I am coming, Yahushua speaking, speedily, and my reward is with me, to give to each according to his work. So, hiding servants, and now he's coming with the reward. And I think also in 2 Timothy somehow is what Shaul was talking about, and this should be our mindset, and this is exactly the mindset that YaHuWaH is telling Shlomo that he needs to endure. Basically, the mindset of endurance is what is written in the verse 7, 2, and 8. It says, I have fought the good fight. I have finished the race. So what it means, finish the race, is that he has endured till the end. I have guarded the belief with endurance. I have fight, because in order to endure, we need to fight, maybe not physically, but internally, the fight in our minds. Endure. I have finished the race because I have finished and I have get to the finish point. I have guarded the belief throughout all the process. For the rest, there is laid up for me the crown of righteousness, because I have finished the race. So it's coming the reward, which the master, the righteous judge, shall give to me on that day, and not to me only, but also to all those loving his appearing.
It's something in the future.
It's something in the future. So basically, the reward won't come at the beginning. The reward, the payment, is coming after serving. Today, we are servants. Yahushua has hired all of us to serve him, to serve the king. And by serving the king, we are serving Elohim, YaHuWaH. And he's giving us all the tools, all the powers, all the understanding, the wisdom, in order to serve him the best. It's up to us to serve him and to search for that wisdom in order to serve him better. and we need to endure till the end. We need to complete our service, because if we don't complete our service, are we going to get the payment? For sure not. I'm get paid in my job because I'm doing my job. If I don't do my job, I'm not going to get my salary. So it's exactly the same thing. We need to complete our work, our service to YaHuWaH, and that means endurance. Sometimes the work is not easy. Sometimes we need to face a lot of difficulties. Sometimes we are finding and facing people that are so difficult. Tell me about it. And we, as I said last week, when we're building, we smash our fingers, and we face some pain, physical pain, but
it's not forever.
it's not forever.
It's
Exactly.
temporary.
It's the moment that we need to remind ourselves is that I'm serving. I'm being hired to serve. I cannot resign. I cannot become a victim. I cannot resign. I need to endure. I need to push forward, because if I complete my work, I'm going to receive the payment. And it's going to be the best or the greater payment that ever existed. That is coming directly, as it said here, by the hand of the righteous judge that is going to give us in that day. So I found this parallel beautiful. It's somehow exactly what I see in the story of Shlomo. What else you have here? Have you seen? That's it?
Yeah, that was my contribution.
That was the contribution. So one thing in addition that I have here is that...
Oh, no, I have.
Okay, go ahead.
It was in the verse 9.
No.
In the verse 9. In the verse 9.
Go ahead.
Because it says that the promise and the reward is coming after that he was walking in the right path, in integrity of heart and everything. But what is going to happen when he or his sons are going to be led astray? And it says specifically in the point 9, in the verse 9, it says, then they shall say, because it's people who was watching them, that they were kind of, okay, now they are not having this reward. And they said, because they have forsaken YaHuWaH their Elohim, who brought their fathers out of the land of Mizraim, and they took hold of the other mighty ones and bowed themselves to them and served them. And we were talking in the morning about the first step, about all the process of being astray, being led astray from the correct path of the presence of YaHuWaH, is that we forsake him. That maybe as human beings there is a point when we are okay, that everything is perfect, and that is in the history of all the Israel as people, and maybe we as an individual person too, that maybe when we are okay, it's not the same attachment that we have when we are in trials and in need. So usually we have more connection with him when we have these difficult times. But he is warning through this example that the first thing that is going to happen is forsaking him. And then what is going to happen? We are going to open a door. So an idol, a mighty one.
We can fill that space that belongs to him with something else.
Somebody else. And that's very dangerous, because why? Then our attention is going to be put in that other something or somebody else. And then we are going to serve him. So at the end, our life is going to go in a complete different position. And then we are going to do 3 different things. We are going to leave from him. We are going to go in some other direction. We are going to bow to themselves. So our respect is going to be in that direction. And then we are going to serve them. So 3 things that maybe are not going to allow us to come back to him. It's like committing adultery. So
as
that
DDK put in the chat.
Yeah?
Yes.
Okay.
Make us think of adultery.
Yeah, that's it. So, and that is what he doesn't like. So every time that we lose our focus and we tend to put our eyes in something else, And sometimes maybe, and I don't know why, but sometimes maybe that something else even is
Us.
us. Yeah. That we're thinking more in us than in him. In our ways and not his
Because of
ways.
the mighty of my hand and the
Yeah.
power of my hand have done all of this. I think it
Yeah.
is written in the book of the Vayera.
And maybe somehow, maybe even the anti-Mashiach, maybe it cannot be, maybe it's not going to be a third person. Maybe we can be the anti-Mashiach somehow.
Or the spirit
Or
of
the
the
spirit
anti-Mashiach
of the anti-Mashiach.
working through us.
Yeah, so that's why we have to be very careful, and we have to realize that our love belongs to him only, and that is him, the first one in our list.
So now that you touch base on that, I had prepared another passage in the book of Devarim, chapter 31, verse 16 to 18, that is talking exactly on the same, about forsaking YaHuWaH. And I agree with you. I think that's the first step. And forsaking, you know, we can forsake him. It's something basic. It's not I don't know, something too complicated to think that, you know, we can forsake him easily. Meaning that not recognizing him is exactly what we were talking before. We need to recognize, we need to praise him, we need to understand that he is the source of everything. If something happened to us, is that we need to give him praise, and we need to understand that he was the one showing us to do it. I will give you an example. You know, when we were in our property, and I don't know if I told you this, a few weeks ago, and we were working very late one of those days because we were running out of water because of many things that we were changing the place we store the water. And we needed to recover the water because Lillian was not taking a shower for 10 days, and
It
and
was
not
kind of
it was
smelly.
3 days, and
It
it was
was
you know, I was suffering like crazy. So I wanted to recover the shower so Lillian can take the water, so Lillian can take a shower. It was a half true actually, but yeah, we were running. We didn't have any water, so we needed to fix it. And I was very tired, and at the moment that the last step that we needed to fix and put the pump, the water pump, to work, I needed a special tool. You know, something was not working. Actually, that was the pump was not working, and I didn't know what was going on. And it was very late. We were so tired. It was almost midnight actually, and I didn't know what to do. And suddenly, something appeared within me after the being so tired and annoying because I didn't know what was going on. And something appeared within me, okay, almost telling me, do this. But, you know, I didn't realize that a voice telling me, do this, and just felt it to try something. And I tried that, and it worked. And what I did, I didn't loudly, maybe you didn't hear me because I did it within me. I give thanks to him, to YaHuWaH. Thank you, Allah. Because and it wasn't the button, Joy. I needed to there was some air in the pump, and I needed to do something in order to remove the air. And I give thanks to Allah because it wasn't me the one, he was the one giving me the solution without me recognizing how to do it. But after I saw the solution and implemented the solution, I recognized that it was him giving me the wisdom in order how to do it. And then the same day, later on, I faced another issue. It was because I needed to put, I think, the screws in order to fix it to the floor. And we were facing some issues with the tools and so on. I didn't know how to do it. And then suddenly, again, once again happened, it came to me the wisdom, the knowledge of how to fix it. And once again, I recognized this is not coming from me. It's something that he is giving me the solution on how to do it. So coming back to the point, on those little things is the moment that of decision we can forsake him, believing that I'm so wise, I'm so smart, I'm the one that realize how to do it. Praise to me. Praise be to me, instead of praise be to YaHuWaH. Praise be to me because I'm so smart. I did it. That's one option. The second option is to be humble and realize that we are not that smart. And if we are somehow a little bit smart, it's because he is the one giving us the knowledge, the wisdom on how to solve things. And we need to give praise to him. Hallel YaHuWaH.
And because in that way, he teach you another way to solve a problem, to see. So, and now you're never going to forget that if something similar happened, okay, what things now I need to check.
To trust in him. And not only to trust him, is to acknowledge him. And that means not to forsake him. That's why, bringing this example is what I'm trying to say. Forsaking him is not something difficult. It's something that we
even
can,
in
these little things, we can forsake him. So it's the moment of decision. It's sometimes, I don't know, if you're cooking and you made a mistake and, I don't know, or you don't find how to do something at home, and suddenly an idea came to your heart. That's YaHuWaH helping you. And if you're going through difficulties, is to remember, okay, though it's getting so difficult, I cannot focus myself, I'm so annoyed, I'm so frustrated, so angry. Okay, I'm going to remember, even if it's difficult, I'm going to push myself in order to seek his face, because I remember you, YaHuWaH, Elohim, that I belong to you, and the entire world belongs to you. So I'm going to remember you. If not, I'm forsaking you and I'm going to find solutions somewhere else. I'm going to put my heart on those things instead of putting my heart on him. Okay?
That's true.
So it says in the 16, and YaHuWaH said to Moshe, Devarim 31, verse 16 to 18. YaHuWaH said to Moshe, see, you are about to sleep with your fathers, and these people shall rise and whore after the mighty ones of the strangers of the land, into the midst of which they shall enter, and forsake me, and break my covenant, which I have made with them. Then my displeasure shall burn against them in that day, and I shall forsake them, and hide my face from them, and they shall be consumed. And many evils and distresses shall come upon them. And it shall be said in that day, is it not because our Elohim is not in our midst that these evils have come upon us? And I shall certainly hide my face in that day because of all the evil which they have done, for they shall turn to other mighty ones. And at the end is faithfulness. I'm going to remember you. He's going to remember us. If we forsake him, he's going to forsake us. So it's a relationship. So let's go back to the chapter 9. And some thing is that we need to remember, and somehow connected to everything we have been discussing so far. We can say here, this promise on the verse 4 and 5 is only to Shlomo and to David, because it says, and if you walk before me as your father David walked, in integrity of heart and in uprightness, to do according to all that I have commanded you, if you guard my laws and my right rulings, then I shall establish the throne of your reign over Israel forever, as I promised David your father, saying, there is not to seize a man of yours on the throne of Israel. It's talking about kingship. So we can say, no, this is just to the lineage of the kings of David, so it's not applicable to me. That's totally wrong. Because we, as people of YaHuWaH, and it is written all over the place, we will not go to the passages, because you remember is that we have been appointed as a nation of priests and kings. And even Yahushua in the book of Revelation, he promised that we are going to sit in his throne in the same way that he sat in the throne of his father. And that we are going to rule the nations with a rod of iron in the same way that he is ruling the nations, or he will rule the nations with a rod of iron. So the promise that we are going to be kings. So, and this is something I think is a mystery, how we can become kings if we're not from the lineage of David. And I think the answer, we're not going to go through that rabbit trail because it will take a long time. But somehow it's connected with the resurrection, in my understanding. But maybe in another time we can talk about that. But anyhow, we are being promised to be kings. So this big if, is totally applicable to us. And basically, you know, what is talking here, and we want to summarize in one word, is endurance. Once again, everything we have been talking so far, if we want to summarize, even what we have been highlighted here, is endurance. Walking with integrity of heart, according to all, only then we are going to be established. So, meaning that we need to endure until the end, because if we don't endure until the end, consequences will happen, right? Now, something we were talking this morning that caught my attention when we move forward to the verse 6 and verse 7. It says the following: if you at all turn back, you or your sons, and he's speaking to the king. Keep that in mind. He's speaking to the king, he's not speaking to the rest of the people of Israel. He's talking, YaHuWaH appeared to Shlomo, so everything is talking to Shlomo. And when he's referring to you or your sons, he's referring to the descendants, the lineage of Shlomo. If you are all turned back, you or your sons, from following me, and do not guard my commands, my laws, which I have set before you, but shall go and serve other mighty ones and bow yourselves to them, then, so basically, that's going to be the consequences, then I shall cut off Israel from the face of the soil which I have given them. So how come? Because of the king is forsaking YaHuWaH by not keeping his laws, keeping his right rulings, forsaking his Torah, the consequences are going to be applied over Israel as a people. It doesn't say anything here, at least in the verse 7, that, if you as king are not following me, I'm not going to establish your throne, you are going to be removed from here. No, he's saying that if you go astray, then I shall cut off Israel. So how we can understand that? Why, if the king is not being truthful and faithful to YaHuWaH, his master, the people is the one paying the consequences? What do you think? We already talked about that, but you can make your comments. So basically, if the king fails, all the rest pay the consequences.
And I was telling you that it was like he was like the ¿cómo digo representante?
Representative.
Yeah, representative of the people in the case that if he was in the wrong direction, then the people, the rest of the people, was going to follow that lead. So at the end, I think that is what was going to be the consequence for the people. So, but you were telling me something.
Yeah, you know what I see here, and actually let's complete the picture, because you know, if the king disobey and the king fails, is the people the one that is going to suffer, because Israel will be cut off from the face of the soul which had given them. So what he's talking about here is talking that I'm going to remove Israel from this land. How we can understand this? Because basically we can say, Israel is going to be cut off, and that was the discussion we had this morning. That could mean that I'm going to remove, they're going to die.
And I was telling you that for me, cut off means that cut off like the relation with the people with the land. Not
Exactly.
maybe dying, but maybe to be dispersed in some other places.
The cutoff here, the word in Hebrew can depend on the context. Could
Yeah.
be the two options. But in this specific passage, it's talking about the option. What you said is that I'm going to remove these people. The cutoff Israel is going. I'm going to remove Israel from this land, and we can see easily from these two passages. It said Israel from the face of the soil which I have given them. So I'm going to cut off from this land,
Yeah.
and
Send them away. Send away.
not yet.
Oh.
Is that how we can confirm this? Is exactly what is said here. And Israel should be a proverb and mockery among all the peoples. So Israel will be alive. It's going to be among all the people. And the people will mock
Because they lost.
because of what happened to them. So it's not that Israel is going to die. Israel is going to be dispersed among all the people, and all the people is going to mock on Israel because of what happened. And why? Because the king failed. That's the picture we see here. And that's going to happen with the people. But also what's going to happen is exactly what is written here. And send away from my presence this house, which I have set apart of my name. And that's something that I will go in more details in a minute, because I'm going to just put the question here, open question. How come he's going to send away a building? The house he's referring to the temple. So how he's going to send away a building from his presence? It cannot be a building. It's something else. But I'm going to refer this to in a minute. So what I see here, just to understand what's the relationship. Well, how, because of the king failing, is the people the one that is going to pay the consequences of being removed from the land and being among the nations? And I think this is exactly what Shaul was explaining about the role of Messiah, being the head and we are the body. So the king is the head. The king is the head. The people is the body. The people, Israel, have different functions, and actually they were organized as tribes. You know, each tribe has the head of the tribe. Each house has the head of the house. So, you know, they were making decisions somehow, but they decided to put a king over them. And this is exactly the change that happened in the time of Samuel. And I want to go there because it's important to have this, to remember this understanding. And why I think it's important, because it's given us an additional foundation to understand the role of Messiah. You know, there are so many people saying that, you know, Christians or Messianic Jews or whatever they want to call us, is that you are the idol worshippers, as I have been seeing some videos lately, because you are not going to worship Elohim, you're worshiping a man. And without going through the relationship between YaHuWaH and Yahushua, just keeping that aside, that is also one of the answers to review this kind of words, is because they don't understand the role of the king. So let's go to the book of Samuel. Chapter 8, and we're going to read from verse 1 to verse 9. So it says the following: And it came to be when Samuel was old, that he made his sons rulers over Israel. And the name of his firstborn was Joel, and the name of his second, Abijah, rulers in Beersheba. But his sons did not walk in his ways, and turned aside after own gain, and took bribes, and twisted right ruling. And all the elders of Israel gathered together and came to Shmuel at Ramah, and said to him, Look, you are old, and your sons do not walk in your ways. Now appoint for us a sovereign to rule us like all the nations. It was Israel the one asking Shmuel to appoint a king, they didn't have a king before, and we will see later on in this same chapter who was the king. But the word was evil in the eyes of Shmuel when they said, "Give us a sovereign to rule us." So Shmuel prayed to YaHuWaH. And YaHuWaH said to Shmuel, "Listen to the voice of the people in all that they say to you, for they have not rejected you, but they have rejected me from reigning over them." Who was the king over Israel? Was YaHuWaH. He was the ruler, was YaHuWaH the ruler, and the people decided, no, put a man that I want to see that is going to be our ruler, and this man is going to be somehow the servant of YaHuWaH. It doesn't say here, but you can understand that basically this is exactly what they were seeking for. So rejecting YaHuWaH to be the king. According to all the works which they have done since the day that I brought them up out of Mizraim, even to this day, forsaking me and serving other mighty ones, so they are doing to you too. Now listen to their voice, but you shall certainly warn them, and shall make known to them the ruling of the sovereign who does reign over them. So basically, because of this request, they decided, okay, YaHuWaH is not going to be the king over us anymore. Put a king, a man that is going to be our king over us. And this man is basically to put a different levels. Is to put YaHuWaH, the king, and the people. Okay? So basically at the end, they decided this, how to organize themselves because of this request. That's why the king became the head of the body. And all of them somehow servants of YaHuWaH. If the head fail, the entire body will fail and pay the consequences.
Because it's the one directing.
Exactly, and making the decisions and so on. If the head is good and is righteous, the entire body, sometimes it's not going to be completely righteous, but the head will move the body to somehow guide the body to become righteous and to be full of light. If the head is right, and maybe the hand or somebody, some place of the body is becoming sick, and this is what we were talking the other day, the head somehow will see ways to bring healing to the place, and if that place or that part of the body is not able to be healed, what's going to happen? He's going to remove. Why? Because if that part is not able to be healed, the entire body can be sick.
Yeah. And then the entire body can be compromised and completely.
And the head needs to make that decision in order to make sure that the entire body somehow, as much as the body, will become saved. So that's the reason. The head, the king, is the representation. And that's why we have an amazing king, Yahushua HaMashiach. You know, he passed all the tests. He was the only one able to defeat sin. And now he's sitting at the right hand of YaHuWaH in the Shemaim. He was the one that, something that unfortunately Shlomo was unable to do it. And we will see in the next chapter, in the next portion. YaHuWaH did it. Yahushua did it. And because of that, we have the perfect head, the perfect sovereign, that we are subjected to this king. And this king, because he's righteous, the entire body, we have now the opportunity to become as righteous as he is. He's not going to fail. He's not going to forsake us if we cling to the head. And if we cling to the power, to Elohim through him. Why? You know, before even, as we read here, YaHuWaH was the king. We were told he was the head. And this is something even more profound that we don't have the time to go in that direction now. And actually, it's a very beautiful picture. Why YaHuWaH approved and decided to answer this question to put a king. and why he decided to put David, and why he put a covenant with David, because he had even a beautiful plan for the future that somehow became in Yahushua. Yahushua fulfilled that plan. But the point is that before was YaHuWaH the head, now it's Yahushua the head, and we need to serve Elohim through him. Okay? So something else, and I haven't seen in the chat about the divorce, and you were talking about, this putting somebody in the place of somebody else, of Elohim, that could be understood as divorce. I will refer to what I was saying about the house. Let's go to the chapter 9 of 1 King. It says, "And send away from my presence this house which I have set apart by my name." The word "sent away" here is the word shalach, is to send somebody from one point to the other, and it's exactly the same word shalach that is being used in the book of Devarim, chapter 24, when it's talking about divorce. In the verse 1, it says the following: "When a man takes a wife and shall marry her, then it shall be, if she finds no favor in his eyes, because he has found a matter of uncoverness in her, and he shall write her a certificate of divorce, and put it in her hand, and shalach her out of his house." Is the same word, is to send her away. So what we see here happening, if the king fails, because forsaking YaHuWaH, not following the commandments and the laws and the right rulings, not following Torah, Jerusalem, or the temple in Jerusalem, because that's the house, is going to be divorced from the presence of YaHuWaH.
That means that his coverage is not going to be there anymore.
Correct.
His
You doesn't
blessing,
belong to me anymore.
So-
Go away.
So now you don't belong to me. Now my presence is not there. Now my kabod is not there, because I don't have any relationship with you anymore.
Absolutely. So it cannot be talking about the house, the building only. It's talking about the spirit of the building, the spirit of the place. And who is a spirit? And I think I talk about that in when we're talking about studying about the woman of Revelation, is the people living there. The people living there somehow are the one bringing life together, of course, with the presence of YaHuWaH, to that place.
But could it be also that maybe, since his glory, his I don't know, protection is not there anymore, he removed himself from that place somehow. So now that place is not clean anymore, because at the end the cleanness is coming from him.
Absolutely, it's not clean anymore.
So maybe,
But my point is that he cannot shalach send out a building.
maybe
That
it can,
building
maybe it can with an earthquake.
Is a distraction.
With an earthquake,
But when we see the full picture,
he can move it.
it's talking about the people surrounded
Yeah.
and living. And we need to remind ourselves that about the three groups that I have been sharing in the past. It's talking about the house of Yehuda, it's talking about the house of Israel, and it's talking about those who dwell in Jerusalem. Those who dwell in Jerusalem, and we will see later in the same passage, those are somehow representing the house, and also the priests somehow representing the house.
Yeah, I wanted to say that.
Yes.
Maybe it was the relationship with the priesthood. So
Correct.
maybe it's not there, it's not validated by him anymore. So
But it's-
now the authority of all that is going to be moved.
But it's not only the priest in this case, because the king is also living in the same place. Shlomo was offering, and we will see it. It's the Levites that also they were there, and also the people that were living around the city of Jerusalem. So those are the ones that I'm going to shalach you. What happened? And I'm going to fast forward to what's coming in the last chapter of this book. When they were being taken to Babylon, they took everybody, the king, the sons of the king, the rulers, the ones that somehow were the head,
Yeah.
and they were removing them from that place, is basically shalach
Yeah.
them from this place to the other. So is talking about that. And when we connected the dots, going to the book of Hosea, chapter 2, is talking about the woman, the mother, and I have been commenting this in the past, is that the mother that's talking about here is the wife that was, divorced, is Jerusalem. Why? And how we can understand, even in the same passage here, is let's take some advantage here, some passage here. And she did not acknowledge that I gave her grain and new wine and oil, and increased her silver and gold, which they prepare for Baal. Therefore I shall turn back and shall take my grain in its time and my new wine in its appointed time, and I shall take away my wool and my linen, covering her nakedness. And now I shall uncover her shame before the eyes of her lovers, and no one shall deliver her from my hand. And I shall cause all her rejoicing, her festival, her Moedim, her months, and her Shabbatot, even all her appointed times, to cease. Where we are commanded to bring all these offerings, where we are commanded to celebrate the festival, the Moedims, the months, and the Shabbat, is in Jerusalem, in the temple. So when we connect the two dots, is basically he's saying, I'm going to, because of the king is failing, I'm going to divorce you. I'm going to divorce Jerusalem. I'm going to shalach Jerusalem. And this involves everybody that is there. The king, the priest, the Kohen HaGadol, the high priest, all the priests, the Levites, and the people serving the king that was basically part of all the tribes of Israel. Okay?
Yes.
So let's go back again to chapter 9. What else? Let's move on. It says, and this house, which had been exalted, everyone who passed by astonished. When I was reading this, I didn't find the passage, but I think one of the punishment over the Babylon, there is a part in the scripture that it's not the same, but it's quite similar. Quite similar. I think it's in the book of Isaiah or Jeremiah. So let's continue reading from verse 10. It says, and it came to be at the end of 20 years that Shlomo had built the two houses, the house of YaHuWaH and the house of Sovereign.
So one was before and then the other.
Maybe it's a reference also of the two houses, the house of Yehuda and the house of Israel. It's referring to these two. Hiram, the sovereign of Sor, had supplied Shlomo with cedar and cypress and gold, as much as he desired. Then sovereign Shlomo gave Hiram 20 cities in the land of Galil of the nations. In this, I was telling you, it's interesting that in this moment he was giving some cities from a people that was not part of Israel, were part of the nations. Okay? And Hiram came from Sor to see the cities which Shlomo had given him, but they were not right in his eyes. And he said, what are these cities you have given me, my brother? And he called them the land of Kabul, as they are to this day. That it means?
Kabul means, give me a second, it was the 9, bounding. So maybe it's because of the covenant, that he was given something and the other was, and some people said that it means good for nothing, but I don't think that it.
No?
Yeah, no.
So let's continue.
And if you go letter by letter, the first one, it says palm, like a hand, then the house, and then that you have control over that house. So at the end, I think that is was transferring the place from one hand to the other and was given the house.
So in the verse 14, and Hiram sent the sovereign 120 talents of gold. And this is the purpose of the compulsory labor which sovereign Shlomo raised to build the house of YaHuWaH and his own house and Milo and the wall of Jerusalem and Hatzor and Megiddo and Gezer. And this is something just to clarify something that I saw when I was reading the verse 1. It says that when Shlomo finished building the house of YaHuWaH, the house of the sovereign, and all the desire of Shlomo, which he was pleased to do. So when he's talking about all the desire of Shlomo that he wanted to do, I do believe that it's referring
Also
to
to
exactly
this.
all of this, because he built the house of YaHuWaH, the house of the sovereign, but also he built Milo, the wall of Jerusalem, Hatzor, and Megiddo, and Geser. So he built a lot of things. Okay. Pharaoh, sovereign of Mizraim, had gone up and taken Geser and burnt it with fire, and had killed the Canaanites who dwelt in the city, and had given it as a payment for the bride to his daughter, Shlomo's wife. And this is quite weird.
Maybe the Pharaoh gave that land to his daughter, could it be? Because usually it was something that the... Or no?
No, because he's referring here, he had given it as a payment for the bride to his daughter.
But it says to his daughter?
But why Pharaoh is giving it? Is Shlomo the one, according to the scriptures, that the future husband is the man who needs to give the silver to the father as the payment for the bride?
Yeah, I don't
But
know.
is Pharaoh the one giving the payment of the bride? So it's like
maybe
the father giving the payment instead of the future husband.
Yeah, but maybe that's where this was changed. Because I was telling you that in some places the tradition goes like this, that the father of the bride is the one paying. And that's strange. It's like he's paying for, okay, I'm paying you so you can take my daughter. So like taking a burden somehow. But I don't know why.
You know, it's not connected at all. But when I was reading this, I remember something in the book of Ezekiel. Let me put it here on the screen. It's in the chapter 16, in the verse 33 and 34.
Could it be that in some cases it could be like a kind of a burden, so I pay, and if it's going to be like a kind of a price, then the other side has to pay? I don't know.
You know, it's interesting that somehow it's connected to adultery and whoring and so on. It says in the 16:33, to all whores they give gifts, but you give gifts to all your lovers.
Isn't the other way?
That's why I was saying it's not connected at all, but the only connection is that things are working in the other way around. And bribed them to come to you from all around in your whorings. Thus you are different from other women in your whorings, because no one whores after you, and in you giving a harlot fee, while a harlot fee has not given to you. Thus you are different. So it's like all the way around. In this case, Pharaoh paying the payment of the bride instead of a Shlomo. Similar to here, the Jerusalem being a whore, and instead of receiving payment, she's giving payment. I don't know if there's any connection, but came to my heart when I was reading it. Okay. So let's continue.
Well, it could be that maybe the cities that Shlomo was given to him, maybe it was precious, but according to his eyes were not as, they didn't have many kind of worth. And sometimes maybe we receive, I'm thinking and comparing this with Abba and our relationship, that maybe sometimes we receive things and we cannot, and we used to tend to have the tendency of not appreciate them because according to our eyes were maybe not valuable, but at the end it has a lot of value. Yeah, it could be.
It could be. It could be. So it says in the verse 17, and Shlomo built Geser and lower Beit Horon and Balath and Tamar in the wilderness in the land of Yehuda, and all the storage cities that Shlomo had, and cities for his chariots, and cities for his cavalry, and whatever Shlomo desired to build in Jerusalem, and in Lebanon, and in all the land of his rule. So he was wise, he built a lot of things, and you know, that's part of the ancient wisdom, is having storage cities, where to store what? Store food, store water, store I don't know, transportation, animals.
Yeah, he has a lot of
Stored wool, linen for clothing.
Yeah, material maybe for next buildings. I don't know.
To store the gold, wood,
Tools.
in the storage house.
Yeah.
Okay. So this is something that we should learn. You remember we were discussing when we had the earthquake here, and after with the pandemic, is that we are so used to live in the modern days that we have all the dependencies on the system of the world, and that's totally wrong, because we are giving our autonomy to somebody else, and we need to have some type of storage. We need to store things. It doesn't mean that we need to have plenty, because no, it's just to act wisely based on what YaHuWaH is guiding us, and according to
in a period of need that maybe it could arrive.
Exactly. So then keeping in mind that he was acting with the wisdom that YaHuWaH was giving him, we should act in the same way. So it says, and all the people who were left of the Amorites, the Hittites, the Perizzites, the Hivites, and the Jebusites, who were not of the children of Israel, their descendants who were left in the land after them, whom the children of Israel had not been able to destroy completely, from this Shlomo raised compulsory labor, as it is to this day.
And now the Canaanites are not mentioned because they were killed in the
I
fire.
think it was only in that city.
Yeah, maybe they were located in that place. So the idea maybe it was to remove, and they were removed completely.
Maybe.
Because they were
not so sure, but maybe it's an option. Yeah, we need to see if they're mentioned later, because they're still in place. Okay. So, when I saw this is something that caught my attention, because again, this is a whole picture of the kingdom of Elohim here on earth. All the story, everything that we have been reading somehow since the beginning of this book till now, is somehow a foreshadow of things to come, or things that are happening, and things that are going to be completed by the hand of Yahushua HaMashiach. So in this case, he's taking the enemies that are still there, and they become compulsory labor, like slaves, right? Other way to say it is like they were under his feet. The enemies under his feet. And what is being said about Yahushua? Let's go first to the book of Psalms, verse 110. It says, YaHuWaH said to my Adon, my master, sit on my right hand until I make your enemies a footstool for your feet. YaHuWaH sends your mighty scepter out of Zion. Rule in the midst of your enemies. So the enemies are present, but you are going to rule
over them,
in the midst of them, and you are going to rule over them. And this is exactly what Paul was talking, and there are many references actually. But let's go to the book of 1 Corinthians chapter 15 and verse 25 and 27. When it's talking about Yahushua, and it's talking about the resurrections, and this is important because he's given us somehow the time frame of things to happen, Shaul in this case. But you can read it completely later. But the 25 says, for he, referring to Yahushua, has to reign until he has put all enemies under his feet. So meaning that during the millennial kingdom, there will be some enemies, and he's going to rule over them. And actually, we came to mind many of the prophecies in the book of Zechariah, when it's talking about if the tribe of Mizraim or the clan of Mizraim is not coming to celebrate the feast of Sukkot and so on, there's no be rain of any clan of all the nations are not coming to bow down to the king. They are going to suffer some consequences because he's going to rule over them, and he's going to bring righteousness over the entire world. And it says the last enemy to be brought to naught is death. And that's going to happen at the end of the 1,000 years, when it's going to happen the second resurrection as part of judgment. For he has put all under his feet. But when he says all are put under him, it is clear that he who put all under him is accepted. So is the king in subjection to Elohim, to YaHuWaH. This is what he's talking about. So so it's interesting that this is the way this is going to happen. So let's continue. First King chapter 9. What it is? Here in the 22. But Shlomo did not make slaves of the children of Israel, because they were men of battle, and his servants and his rulers and his officers and commanders of his chariots and his cavalry. These were the chiefs of the officials who were over the work of Shlomo, 550, who ruled over the people who did the work. But the daughter of Pharaoh came out from the city of David to her house that he built for her. Then he built Milo. And 3 times a year Shlomo brought ascending offerings and peace offering on the slaughter place which he had built for YaHuWaH, and he burnt incense with that which was before YaHuWaH, thus gave completeness to the house. So most probably was during the feast, right? 3 times a year. And sovereign Shlomo built a fleet of ships at the Zion Geber, which is near Elot, on the shore of the Sea of Reeds in the land of Edom. And Hiram sent his servants with the fleet, seamen who knew the sea, to work with the servants of Shlomo. And they went to Ophir and took 420 talents of gold from there and brought it to sovereign Shlomo. So if somebody knows where Ophir was, I was reading something that they believed it was in Arabia. But if somebody of you knows and have done a study about Ophir, put your comments there. It would be interesting to know where Ophir was. We were debating that maybe it was in Africa, maybe it was in Arabia, maybe it was in India. Because of the place that they were building, it was in the Red Sea, basically. They were building this.
They were said. I was reading that they were saying that it was in the Arabic Peninsula, and it's a point of traders that where the commerce, all the commerce from Africa, all the commerce from India were brought there, and according to that place, it says that Ophir was located there. And just to consider that it was Hiram who gave to Shlomo 120 talents of gold. And here we can see that when they went to Ophir, the servant of Shlomo and the servants of the Hiram, because they went to Ophir, they brought 420 talents of gold from there. So I have a count because it called my attention why they were mentioned those numbers.
You have 540 so far.
So far. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. So you're counting.
I'm counting. Yeah.
Okay. Last thing from this chapter from my side is that when he's saying here, Shlomo did not make slaves of the children of Israel. It's interesting because somehow it's connected to what I said before. These are the house of the king. Those one that were going to rule with him are the direct servants of the king.
Yeah.
Those that were going to live in Jerusalem.
Yeah.
Why is that? And let's go again to the book of Samuel quickly, chapter 8, when they were asking for the king. And let's read the verse 10 to 17. It says, And Shmuel spoke all the words of YaHuWaH to the people who asked him for a sovereign, and said, This is the ruling of the sovereign who does reign over you. He shall take your sons and appoint them for his own chariots and to be his horsemen, and they shall run before his chariots. And appoint commanders over his thousands and commanders over his 50s, and to plow his grounds and reap his harvest, or to make his weapons, and equip them for his chariots. And your daughters he's going to take to be perfumers and cooks and bakers, and the best of your fields and your vineyards and your olive trees he's going to take and give them to his servants. And the 10 of your grain and your vintage he's going to take and give it to his officers and servants. And your male servants and your female servants and your best young men and your donkeys he's going to take and use for his own work. A 10 of your sheep he's going to take, and you are to be his servants.
Yeah. So then.
So ruling over the people, and he's going to take from everybody else, though that everybody is having Torah needs to follow YaHuWaH because of the Torah of YaHuWaH. They decided to put a king over them, and the king is going to rule over them, is going to become the head, and the hand will demand all the blood to come to the head. All the neurons are coming from here, just to put a similitude to what's happening in the body. Okay? And the why is so interesting, even connected to everything we said before. Because when we go to the book of Ezekiel, and I brought this in the past to chapter 48, talking about how the land is going to be divided in the future under the hand of Yahushua HaMashiach, we go to the verse 15. And the 5,000 cubits in width that is left. You know, when you read this completely, you see that as part of the whole distribution of the land, in the middle of the land, they need to give a contribution, a terumah of land. And that terumah, that portion of the land that is going to be a contribution, will be for the priest, for the Levites, for the king, and also for the person, the people we see here. 5,000 cubits in width, and that is left, facing the 25,000, is for common use by the city, for dwelling, an open land, and the city shall be in its midst. And these are its measurements: the north side 4,500 cubits, and the south side 4,500, and the east side 4,500, and the west side 4,500.
Just square.
And the open land of the city shall be to the north 250 cubits, and to the south 250, and to the east 250, and to the west 250. And the rest of the length, alongside the contribution of the set-apart portion, is 10,000 cubits to the east and 10,000 to the west. And it shall be alongside the contribution of the set-apart portion, and its increase shall be food for the workers of the city. So people working in the city is going to be for dwelling places. And let's continue. And the workers of the city from all the tribes of Israel shall till it. So the king, as we will see, we saw the ruling, is going to take chosen people from all the tribes of Israel in order to be his direct servants. There will be commanders, there will be rulers, there will be bakers, there will be perfumers, there will be, you name it. And they will be living in that special place, like in Jerusalem. Actually, that's going to be the future Jerusalem. And they will be working in the city. So they will become the ruling house somehow is going to become part of the head, the inhabitants, the dwellers of Jerusalem. Okay? So let's move on. Chapter 10.
Okay, my turn. And the sovereigness of Sheba heard of the report of Shlomo concerning the name of YaHuWaH, and came to try him with hard questions. And she came to Jerusalem with a very great company, with camels that bore spices, very much gold and precious stones. And she came to Shlomo, and she spoke with him about all that was in his heart. And Shlomo answered all her questions. There was no matter hidden for the sovereign that he did not make known to her. And the sovereignness of Sheba saw all the wisdom of Shlomo, and the house that he had built, and the food on his table, and the seating of his servants, and the service of his waiters, and their attire, and his cupbearers, and his ascending offerings, which he offered in the house of YaHuWaH. And there was no more spirit in her. So
she was in awe.
Yeah, in awe. And you can you see what was the first sensation of her?
What do you mean? I don't know.
Why she was visiting him?
Because she heard of the wisdom.
Yeah, but he wanted to try him.
With hard
hard
questions.
questions.
It's like the Pharisees.
Yeah.
Trying to try Yahushua.
And maybe that is going also to happen maybe to us. When somebody is going to try to ask us questions that maybe are difficult to answer. But you can see that he didn't stopped and said maybe to a hard question, well, I cannot tell you the answer. Or no, he was answering everything.
There was no matter hidden for the sovereign that he did not make known to her.
And I think that it was the Ruach who was always directing what was the answer and everything. But it was in awe, the sovereignness of Sheba.
So you are in the 5, but let me bring something.
Yeah.
In the book of Isaiah, YaHuWaH, chapter 2, verse 1 to 3 says the following. The word that YaHuWaH, the son of Amoz, saw concerning Yehuda and Jerusalem. And it shall be in the latter days that the mountain of the house of YaHuWaH is established on the top of the mountains, and shall be exalted above the hills, and all nations shall flow to it. And many people shall come and say, Come, and let us go up to the mountain of YaHuWaH, to the house of the Elohim of Yaakov, and let him teach us his ways, and let us walk in his paths. For out of Zion comes forth the Torah, and the word of YaHuWaH from Jerusalem. And he shall judge between the nations, and shall reprove many peoples, and they shall beat their swords into plowshares, and their spears into pruning hooks. Nation shall not lift up sword against nation, neither teach battle anymore. So for me, it's a kind of a parallel, a foreshadow. Here, the queen of the south coming to the king, even though that maybe the intention was to, I'm going to test, I'm coming with the most of the hard question that he's not going to be able to. Maybe the intention was not the right one.
Yeah.
But he wanted to listen, to try for by herself if everything that she heard was true.
And he heard because a lot of people was talking about him.
Yes.
Yeah. So
for me it's the same somehow. Okay, we know that there's wisdom there. Let's go up to the mountain in order to receive the word, in order to receive the Torah that is coming from YaHuWaH, directly from Zion, from Jerusalem. And the other one is that what Yahushua said in the book of Matthew, chapter 12, verse 42. The sovereignness, the queen of the south, shall rise up in the judgment. So first it's a kind of a promise, it's an indication that the queen of Sheba will rise in the second resurrection. Because for me, this is somehow, it's talking about judgment, and it's talking about rising up. This rising up for me is a way to say or to talk about the resurrection. So the sovereignness of the south shall rise up in judgment with this generation, and shall condemn it. For she came from the ends of the earth to hear the wisdom of Shlomo, and look, a greater than Shlomo is here, referring to himself.
Yeah, like that she as a princess was traveling a lot.
And she came and she believed.
Yeah, what he
and
heard.
You are not, you don't want to believe in me that I'm greater to Shlomo. I'm not going to be the one judging and condemning you. She's going to be the one. Because she was able to see everything that she saw with the Shlomo that you were reading, and she was in awe that no more spirit was in her. Because, and actually you are going to read it now, what was her answer after she was in awe. That she will see all the glory, and that's beautiful, what I'm going to say. If she was in awe with what she saw with Shlomo, she's going to be, I don't know, even more in awe when she will see all the glory of Yahushua. And that's why, she's going to be able to compare. I saw all of this in Shlomo. He's the descendant of Shlomo, and I can see, wow, what I saw with the Shlomo cannot be compared to what I'm seeing here. And you don't want to believe in this guy?
And what it says, Karen says, that she sees the servants. So
that's true.
That is important.
Wow, this is very good.
how everything is working there.
Yes.
So how the servants are being also a reflection. I mean,
The
I
food
think,
of his table, the
Yeah.
sitting of his servants,
Yeah.
and the service of his waiters, and their attire, his cupbearers, and his ascending offerings. That's true, you know. It's not only seeing the king, it's seeing everything around the king, not only the objects,
how
the
everything
people.
and how everything works there. So, and I think that it's also the actions itself.
You know,
themselves.
if I want to try to picture what she's going to see, sorry, the picture what she's going to see. Remember that in the second resurrection, the kingdom has been already established. Yahushua is already ruling for the last 1,000 years on earth. And there's going to be it's going to be the human 2.0 is going to be present. What is the human 2.0? It's not the one that everybody's talking now. It's going to be the new body of the resurrected people. That they're going to be in white and maybe shining. So she's going to be able to see this shining king and shining servants that are different to the ordinary men and women, and everything, you know, with all the thrones and all the glory of YaHuWaH, that there's not going to be, I don't know, any doubt of what she said, she's seen. But I like the point from Karen. And that's why, you know, endure until the end, it means that we are going to receive the reward. What reward? The one that we are going to be able to show and display as part of the resurrected bodies. You want to continue?
Yeah. What it was?
The number 6.
Number 6. Then she said to the sovereign, the word I heard in my own land about your words and your wisdom was true. But I didn't believe the words until I came and saw with my own eyes. And see, I have not been told the half. Your wisdom and prosperity exceed the report which I heard. Blessed are your men, and blessed are these your servants, who stand continually before you, who are hearing your wisdom. Blessed be YaHuWaH your Elohim, who delighted in you to put you on the throne of Israel, because YaHuWaH has loved Israel forever. Therefore he made you sovereign, to do right ruling and righteousness.
It's like giving the blessings instead of a Shlomo, think in Yahushua. Wow. Blessed are your men, the men that Yahushua has chosen, and blessed are these your servants, who stand continually before you, O Yahushua, who are hearing of your wisdom. Blessed be YaHuWaH your Elohim, who delighted in you, O Yahushua, to put you in the throne of Israel and the throne for the entire world. Wow. Wow.
Beautiful. And she gave the sovereign 120 talents of gold. So here
540 plus 120 is 660. Okay.
Yeah.
And you will like what I will show.
Okay.
Okay.
And very many spices and precious stones. Never again did so many spices come as the sovereigns of Sheba gave to sovereign Shlomo. And also the ships of Hiram, which brought gold from Ophir, brought almug, I don't know how to say that, almug wood, a great many and precious stone from Ophir. And the sovereign made steps of the almug wood for the house of YaHuWaH, and for the sovereign's house, also lyres and harps for singers. No such almug wood has come or been seen to this day. And sovereign Shlomo gave the sovereignness of Sheba all she desired, whatever she asked, besides what he gave her according to the hand of sovereign Shlomo. And she turned and went to her land, she and her servants. But
I don't know. You looked at me.
Yeah.
You want to say, I know what I know what you're thinking. You know, I know what you're thinking. You want to say it? Okay.
No.
There's some theories out there that believe and says, and you're laughing. You're not able to say it by yourself. I will have to say it.
Yeah.
There's some theories out there that says that when it is written here that the sovereign Shlomo gave the sovereign of Sheba all she desired, whatever she asked, beside what he gave her, according to the hand of sovereign Shlomo. So that it seems that she asked for a son, and sovereign Shlomo gave her a son.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of theories that there is a lineage of Shlomo in Africa, in Ethiopia. But there's no way to confirm through the word. It's just a theory that she was asking this.
I always, it gave me laugh when I read about it. Yeah. And the weight of gold that came to Shlomo yearly was 666 talent of gold.
Interesting number.
So that's why I was making the sum among what Hiram gave him, what the servants brought from Ophir.
But you're missing 6.
Yeah, but I'm mixing 6. And then this, that it was coming from the sovereignness of Sheba.
Okay.
So
666 talent of gold. Where I have seen this number, I don't remember actually.
I don't know.
666.
666. I don't know.
It is connected to something? I don't know. But I have a video I will show you, for sure we're talking, we're making fun. But we know that in the book of Revelation, when it's talking about the number of the beast, it's talking about that the number of the beast is 666.
Yeah. So it's kind of...
So it's a kind of interesting that somehow it's connected to a Shlomo, considering what's happened with the Shlomo later on. I don't have a position on this, on why we have this number here, with the exception of how it's connected to gold. Okay, the number is connected to gold, it's still connected to talents of gold. And maybe there's something there, but I will show you something later, but you can continue.
Besides that, from men of travel, and the profit from traders, and from all the sovereign of Arabia, and from the governors of the land. And sovereign Shlomo made 200 large shields of beaten gold. 600 pieces of gold went into each shield, and 300 shields of beaten gold. 3 minas of gold went into each shield, and the sovereign put them in the house of the forest of Lebanon. And should I continue?
Yeah, actually it's interesting. He was making shields.
One, I think, were bigger, the other
smaller. And actually is, all of this is making from gold. And what Camila put there is interesting. The seal of Shlomo, or the shield. The shield, the Star of David, somehow it is being mentioned as a shield.
Yeah.
And what she's writing there is that basically is the 6 points, the 6 triangles, 6 sides of the hexagon.
Yeah.
So somehow it's connected somehow to the gold. And there's a lot of theories about that. Again, so far till here, I see Shlomo being used and being walking in the path of YaHuWaH. There's nothing mentioned yet about he going astray. So that's why I don't know how to connect these dots, though it's very interesting. When we connect with what is being in Revelation, it's talking about the start of Kiyun, I think, in the book of Amos, if I don't remember wrong. And actually even Stephen was talking when he was preaching in the book of Acts chapter 7, he's talking about that, just rebuking the Yahudim, but then about that they have adopted this one. There's a lot of theories. Actually, we need to pray to YaHuWaH to give us more wisdom to see if there's something else behind all of this. Okay. You want to continue?
Yeah. And what it was?
18.
Okay. And the sovereign made a great throne of ivory and overlaid with refined gold. The throne had 6 steps, and now it was 6. Like, he loves that number.
Maybe that's why it's the connection of with the Masons.
Maybe, and also
because they somehow they connect all these 6 and those numbers and measures and they put their own religion on this.
And when they represent the number 6 with when we see the letters, it's with a human. So it's like he is like I don't know. Somehow it's more importance of the human, like anything else. Okay, and the top of the throne was round at the back, and there were armrests on either side of the place of the seat, and 2 lions stood beside the armrests, and 12 lions were standing there, one on each side of the 6 steps. The like of it was never made in any reign. That's strange that it was only him.
What part?
It says that the throne, that no other reign was having a throne like that, like with the lions, with the.
It was not part of the artwork on that time, maybe.
Yeah, maybe.
And he came with this idea.
Maybe, yeah. And all the drinking vessels of sovereign Shlomo were of gold, and all the vessels of the house of the forest of Lebanon were of refined gold, not of silver, for this was reckoned of little value in the days of Shlomo. And you know that in the case of vessels, when you drink, I think that is true, that the things can be have a different taste if they're with silver.
Okay.
And with gold, they don't change.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
You know that?
yeah. Once I remember that they said that's why the kings always have a cup of gold for drinking
Doesn't
wine.
change the taste of the,
the
drinks or the food. Okay.
Yeah. The rest, tin, silver, every other material somehow is going to affect the flavor. And
I'm gonna change our
yeah, we are going to have
gold,
gold
yeah, I think
vessels,
so.
cups, and now. And it says not of silver, for this was reckoned of little value in the days of Shlomo. Imagine that it was little value, the silver at those days. For the sovereign had ships of Tarshish at sea with the fleet of Hiram. Once every 3 years the ships of Tarshish came bringing gold and silver, ivory and apes and baboons.
By the way, I don't know if you mentioned, but what you told me before about the throne is interesting, because he made the throne of ivory and then he covered it with gold.
Gold, yeah.
Was a
it
very
was like,
precious one. Can you imagine? When the Babylonians came, they took all of that.
Yeah.
He accumulated a lot of riches, a lot of treasures, even the throne itself, the seat.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
And let's keep in mind that was part of the blessings that YaHuWaH promised Shlomo.
Richness.
He said, because you have asked for this, he asked for wisdom, I'm going to give everything else that you have not asked for. Riches, land, ruling, and so on. And we can see it here.
Yeah. Yeah. And when I'm thinking about the apes and baboons, maybe he was studying the concept of a zoo.
A zoo.
Maybe.
Maybe.
Yeah. And sovereign Shlomo was greater than any of the sovereigns of the air in riches and wisdom. And all the earth sought the presence of Shlomo to hear his wisdom, which Elohim had put in his heart. And they were each bringing his present, objects of silver and objects of gold, and garments and armor and spices, horses and mules, the matter of a year by year.
So, again, keeping in mind that this is a foreshadow. So when you were reading here, is that all the earth sought the presence of Shlomo to hear his wisdom, and they were each bringing his present, object of silver, object of gold, and so on. The Magi of the East, they were coming with presents to Yahushua when he was born. So, can you see the picture what's going to happen at the end with Yahushua coming and ruling over the entire world? It's going to happen exactly the same. They will go and flow in order to be under the presence of Yahushua HaMashiach, that is going to be wiser, that is going to be mightier than Shlomo itself. So I think all this picture that we see here is the picture of what's going to happen during the millennial kingdom, and what we should be seeking for is, as I saw in some of the comment here, is to be taken as one of the bakers, the rulers, the commanders, the ones taking care of the door, or cleaning the house, whatever it is, but to be on the presence of the king. And unfortunately, it's not up to us. It should be our desire, our prayer is to be taken as one of those chosen that are going to be living close enough to the king. But even though if we're not part of those chosen one that are going to be living on that place, we need to push forward to be part of those that are going to be living at least on the other part of the lands, in the tribes, in the surrounding areas. You know, because we are going to be close enough in order to go time to time to the temple and so on. You know, that's why we should not put our eyes in the material things or what's going to be the last the end result. We need to put our eyes in being part of the kingdom, to be part of those who are going to be among Israel, to be part of the 1,000 years, to be part of the first, let me put it much easier, to be part of the first resurrection. Because those that are going to be part of the first resurrection are going to be the ones that are going to be enjoying the millennial kingdom of Yahushua and are going to be able to see all his glory and all the mighty and the big reward he received from Abba, from the Father, because of what he did by giving up his life in the stake. I want to be part of that, no matter what's going to be my assignment. For sure, I would like to be maybe a musician. Yes, Camila. To be close in the temple, playing music. Okay. Or just writing, being a scribe. Or just cleaning. Doesn't matter. It should be our attitude. Yes, hopefully, I want to pray to be count worthy to stand before the Lamb. But even though the most important thing is just to pray, I want to be in the kingdom of Yahushua. I don't care what's going to be my assignment. If I'm going to be living, okay. Thanks for that, Abba. If I'm going to be living close enough as part of those that are being dwelling in Jerusalem, that's going to be the best reward. Remember the parable of the talents. Not everybody received the same amount of talents or reward. But that's why, you know, in this life is when we need to push forward even more in order to live according to Torah and to live according to the testimony of Yahushua in our hearts. Is to serve him now in order to receive the payment later. Could it be that maybe we have received and we have been serving more, that our payment is going to be more? Not necessarily, because in the same parable, he paid exactly the same amount to everybody. So it's up to him to decide, you know, all this discussion between the disciples, who is going to be the greater. It's up to him to decide what's going to be the reward to everybody. So keep watching, keep praying. The most important thing, I want to be part of the kingdom. Consider me to be part of the kingdom, to be part of the first resurrection. I want to see the glory of YaHuWaH, of Yahushua, in the first phase, at the beginning, not in the second resurrection with the Queen of Sheba. I want to see it at the beginning, to be part of that amazing phase of the world.
In all the possible moments,
So here.
And Shlomo gathered chariots and horsemen, and he had 1,400 chariots and 12,000 horsemen, whom he stationed in the chariot cities and with the sovereign in Jerusalem. And the sovereign made silver as common in Jerusalem as the stones.
Wow. So they had a lot of silver, so riches.
Yeah. And he made cedars as plenty as the sycamores, which are in the low country.
I would like to do that. So they were planting trees.
Yeah.
So maybe we can go and start planting trees when we are coming back to the land.
Yeah, we need to learn how to do it. Yeah. And Shlomo had horses brought out from Israel and kept. I was looking for this word because according to translation it says hope, but according to some other translation it says that word kept. It's linen yard.
Okay.
So it's linen, it's clothing. So I think that is the right translation, maybe. That word. The sovereign's merchants bought them in Ket at a price. So I don't know if it's a place or it's they are talking about the linen. So
okay.
I'm not so sure what it is, but I was looking for another definition. And a chariot came up and went out from Mizraim for 600 pieces of silver, and a horse 150. And so, by their hand, they brought them out to all the sovereigns of the Hittites and the sovereigns of Aram.
So, just to close, I think it is again beautiful picture of the foreshadow of the millennial kingdom, and what should be, a kind of how to say it, a glimpse of what we can be partake if we endure until the end. So what I kept till the end is about the 666. There's when I said that the only reference I see connected is with gold, and you're hiding something. And there is another reference with somehow with the same numbers or similar numbers. So let me show it to you. You want to?
It just called my attention the last.
You want to go back?
Yeah. The last how it was finished, how it was.
There you have.
Yeah, because it says that they were taking the chariot and the horses and everything. They were describing the prices of those, and it says, and also by their hand. So by the hand of the people, the merchants of the sovereign Shlomo, they brought them out to all the sovereigns of the Hittites and the sovereigns of Aram. So it called my attention that even these people who were in the slave position, they have sovereign.
Yeah.
And they were able to buy things from the Shlomo merchants. So they were also having kind of benefits there. So that's it.
Interesting. So about the 666, if we go to the book of Daniel, chapter 3, verse 1, it says, Nebuchadnezzar, the sovereign, made an image of gold. Remember, it was talent of gold in the book of Kings, whose height was 60 cubits, and its width 6 cubits. So again, somehow the numbers repeating itself. He set it up in the plain of Dura in the province of Babel. So gold connected again with the number 6 and somehow 66 cubits. Once I heard that this image of gold, and I heard this again recently, could be related to a very popular image that until today we have it. And let me see, I have it here.
Ahí está.
Yes.
Yeah, sorry.
And is this image, and we see that again in this image in Washington, D.C., is having the same proportions and the same numbers in inches. And somehow is the same proportions, basically. These are ratio. And there's some people that believe that the image of in the book of Daniel was an
An
obelisk,
obelisk. Yeah, I
and
heard that.
an obelisk made of gold, having these numbers. So maybe again, and I don't know why the reference of the gold in the case of Shlomo is the 666. But when we connect the gold with what is written in the book of Daniel, thinking in all of this, maybe is the image of jealousy. And when I think on all these things, let me go back to the scripture here. I remember what is written in the book of Ezekiel, chapter 3, when Ezekiel is being taken by the Ruach, by the lock of his hair. It says, and he stretched out the front of a hand and took me by a lock of my hair, like in this, and you will go up, right? Because it's hurting.
Yeah.
And the Ruach lifted me up between the earth and the heavens, and brought me in visions of Elohim to Jerusalem, to the door of the north gate of the inner court, where the seat of the image of jealousy was, which causes jealousy. And we know what's the meaning of the obelisk. Is the sexual organ. So connected to adultery, somehow, and connected to jealousy, somehow everything match. So this is one thing. And the second thing is that, this is something that let me put the other screen here. This is something that I saw many years ago. And recently I saw it again. And this is the understanding of the mark of the beast. Now that we're talking about the 666. It's not connected at all with the portion, with the exception of the talent of gold. Is that there is a alternative interpretation of how was translated the famous 666 in the book of Revelation. And I have a video here that I prepared that basically is explaining this alternative translation, and for me is somehow so relevant to what I see happening in our time, and it's so relevant to a person that I have been somehow tracking, and I talked to you about this person in the prophecy update video that I did a few weeks ago. That somehow
it could be.
It caught my attention, and I'm tracking these things that maybe this interpretation of what is written in the book of Revelation is something that we should consider. So let me look for the video and I show it to you. Just listen carefully just to understand what is being said. So here we go.
Let him that hath understanding count the number of the beast, for it is the number of a man. Notice a man. That's in my book, by the way, that I cover that and explain that in a little more detail. And his number is 666. Several years back, I taught a message on the golem and an understanding of the golem. And I brought out just briefly at the end of that message, because I only saw with the light that I had at the time. But I knew there was far more. We think of 666. And there's been so many prognostications and so many things said about the mark of the beast. And we've all heard it, and we've all probably taught it. I've written scripts on, microchips, and that's real big right now, and all this kind of thing. But when I saw your explanation in your book of this, it was just so staggering to me. You can explain it far better than I. Will you take a few minutes and just give us your understanding of this, because it's going to be so enlightening to so many people. It's Chi, Psi, and Stigma.
They didn't know what these symbols were. So they thought they were Greek symbols. Then they began to evolve into, let's see, what do these symbols really mean? Why would there be 3 Greek symbols into the text? Why would God put 3 Greek symbols as a mystery? Well, God is not an author of mysteries, by the way. His yoke is easy. What they thought were symbols, when in reality, a different script than even the Greek. God is not interested in gematria. Gematria is the process of adding numerals regarding names. Maybe you take Hillary Clinton. H is number is this, and and then you add it up, see if Hillary Clinton means 666, and maybe she's the beast. Maybe it's Gorbachev, so you then Gorbachev, and you add 666. Gematria was a process that was used in witchcraft. God is not interested in this gematria stuff. Okay? So this developed, and then the translation started to put down 666 because they thought it was about the gematria. But if you look at the Codex Sinaiticus and the different codexes, they don't have 666. They got these symbols. Some even translated these symbols as 616, but it's not. When I first saw the Codex Vaticanus, I was literally shocked because I could read the text. It was Arabic. And as I look at it, it had
Here it is, y'all. Here it is.
What thought these symbols, this and this, in a very kind of circular way, and then you had this symbol. All right? Now, this is an Arabic word. You can film it and ask any Arab, what is that word? Bism, in the name of. And this word, you can ask any Arab what that word is. Bism Allah, in the name of Allah, was on that badge that people put in their foreheads as John documented what he saw on the godly video. God showed him. And that will be the symbol of Islam, which is the two swords. That is a symbol in Saudi Arabia. It's a symbol of Islam from the eons of time. As a matter of fact, if you don't want to believe me, I urge you to watch a movie called Kingdom of Heaven. I don't like the movie, the outcome of the movie, that Salah ad-Din was a nice guy and the Crusades were the bad guys and that kind of thing. When he's sitting in a tent talking to the king, you will see at some point in time, pause it, when you see Salah ad-Din and his men with these badges on their arms. Because it says on the right arm, the arm is dexios. Dexios means arm and not specifically hand. The word for mark is charagma, Greek, which means badge of servitude.
Exactly.
It's a literal badge, all right? Made out of paper, etching, cloth, that is put on the forehead, and on it is several things. It could be the name of the beast, the mark of the beast, the multitude of the beast, and being the name of the beast is the Islamic declaration they already put on their foreheads. There is no God but Allah.
Right now, the Bismillah, going back to the name of Allah, on the forehead of believers is a common practice in Shia majority countries. These are the headbands, the headscarves. What you're seeing on these headscarves is the name of Allah, is the name of this God on their forehead. I want you guys to know that me and Leroy got a ton of objections to this video within the comments about the image of the beast and the mark of the beast being Islamic.
So, I just wanted to share this with you because now that we talk about the 666, we need to let the Ruach guide us just to have the proper understanding. And we need to consider all the alternatives. So maybe what we saw in this video, it could be one of the options, especially when we see what's going on in the world, especially what I was sharing with you in the prophecy update video. And maybe the translation and the interpretation of what is written in the book of Hazor not necessarily is the one that we have been always believed. Maybe it's not the number, maybe it's the symbols, as it was explained in the video. Though it's interesting when we see the numbers, as we saw with the gold and the image of a revelation, maybe everything somehow is connected with different ways to understand. Connecting it to what's going to happen, what's happening, what has been happening throughout the years, what's happening today, and what's going to happen soon. But the most important thing for us is to watch, is to keep Torah, is to keep the commandments, is to keep ourselves in the right way. Just following what YaHuWaH was saying to Shlomo at the beginning, as we were discussing in the chapter 9, is that we need to walking straight, not going astray, walking the straight line, following Mashiach, and most importantly, enduring until the end in order to do what? In order to enjoy, as I said before watching the video, enjoy to be part of what Yahushua is going to implement, what Yahushua is going to establish as part of bringing the kingdom of heaven, kingdom of Elohim, the Malchut HaElohim here on earth. I want to be part of it. And in the meantime, just keeping an eye, praying, watching, serving till the end in order to be part of the kingdom. Anything else you want to say? It took us more time, as always. You know, we are used to go beyond 2 hours.
Yeah.
But it is what it is.
Yeah. No, just imagine that when it was, because it looks like this, it's like an imitation of what the Kohen used to have in
The Kohen HaGadol, the high priest.
Kohen HaGadol.
Kodesh LeYaHuWaH.
Kodesh LeYaHuWaH.
Set apart to YaHuWaH.
So for us, if I don't know if some kind of a trend is going to be, I don't know, among the peoples or nation and anything, no, we have to use our special, also like the Kohen, like Kodesh LeYaHuWaH. We belong to YaHuWaH in our thoughts, in our actions. So that is going to be our mark.
Yeah.
Keeping all his commandments, guarding the Shabbat. The Shabbat is one of the signs that he had put over us to identify us as the children of Elohim. So we have to take hold of those kind of
And actually, I think
signs and
what you said is really important
seals.
because anything that moves us out from belonging to YaHuWaH, I do believe is part of the system of the beast and somehow is connected to the name and the mark of the beast. So if it's defiling this temple that belongs to YaHuWaH, it's part of that. If it's a badge that we are going to put alliance to another mighty ones that is not YaHuWaH, is what you said at the beginning of the broadcast, is to forsake YaHuWaH and replace him for somebody else.
Yeah.
This is defiling our
anything.
relationship.
Yeah.
So this is part of the mark of the beast and the system of the beast. Anything that somehow is going to change what YaHuWaH has been created is to destroy the image of YaHuWaH, as we have been discussing for years, in the last few years already, somehow is connected to that. So that's why, you know, the most important thing is that we need to pray to YaHuWaH to open our ears and our eyes to be so attentive, not to be deceived, not to be confused, but to see with his eyes and understand with his wisdom, while asking him to give us the strength to endure until the end, serving him every day, because if we serve him as we talk today, we're going to receive the reward, the payment, by the second appearance. As he was appearing to Shlomo, he's going to appear to us, our King, Yahushua, to give us the reward on his kingdom. Okay? So thank you so much once again for your patience to be with us here, for being with us in Shabbat, to open the doors somehow of your house virtually in order to be with you in this amazing day. And we really hope this has been a blessing to you. And we hope to see you next week. Next Shabbat, we will continue with the next portion. So we'll finish with a song as always. Enjoy it. See you next week. Shabbat Shalom. YaHuWaH be with you all.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
אדוני יהי שם אדוני מבורך מעתה ועד עולם. הללו, עבדי אדוני הללו, את שם אדוני יהי שם אדוני מבורך מעתה ועד עולם. מהולל שם אדוני ממלכות אלוהים אדוני על השמיים כבודו מכאדוני אלוהינו המגדיל לשבת המשפילי לראות בשמיים ובארץ מכאדוני אלוהינו. הללו עבדי אדוני הללו את שם אדוני יהי שם אדוני מבורך מעתה ועד עולם. הללו עבדי אדוני הללו את שם אדוני יהי שם אדוני מבורך מעתה ועד עולם. ממזרח שמש עד לבואו ממזרח שמש עד לבואו. מהולל שם אדוני ממלכות אלוהים אדוני על השמיים כבודו מכאדוני אלוהינו המגדיל לשבת המשפילי לראות בשמיים ובארץ מכאדוני אלוהינו. מקימים מעפר לעל מהשפות ירים אביון להושיבים נדיבים עם נדיבי עמו. מושיבי יקר את הבית אל אבנים שמחה. הללויה הללו עבדי אדוני הללו את שם אדוני יהי שם אדוני מבורך מעתה ועד עולם.